what was the choice program and what is intended to be one of the features of the Healey School now is a kind of education in which parents play a very important role. And what I found was that there were a lot of stereotypes about non-English speaking parents. There were ideas about their culture not not being friendly to participation. There were ideas about immigrant parents preferring a more authoritarian style to what some of the parents who had joined the school for the progressive education program
Right.
preferred. And I found those things to be quite untrue.
One is language barriers, other is work. They have to work and work. So
we work hard. We work overtime. All those, you know. So
there's both of the things.
this is true. Now two of them are my neighbors. You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
we see in the park.
So then
We see in the transit. Yeah.
And the other one is sometime in the church or in the park with the kids. And yes, so Sunday afternoon.
For parents who may have a language barrier, it also involves knowing that there will be one person at that event that will talk to them. Because my experience in that first year at the school was that it was quite difficult for any parent who was even parents who did not have a language barrier, to really understand what was going on at the school, to understand the complexity of what was expected from parents, to be able to follow the multiple communications from the school. And I actually felt, I find it in many ways frustrating without having a language process to really be able to learn everything that was going on at the Healey. And there were a number of parents in my son's classroom who I knew had the language barrier.
There is a distinction between parents feeling the need to have an ally and feeling like I have an ally that's going to look out for me because they know a little bit more about the system, they understand a little bit more about the school, maybe they speak the language also, but they're like me, they're going to help to look out for me. Whereas, I don't know that, I'm not always convinced that the school is, I'm not sure if parents across the board always feel like the school is looking out for their best interest. The school sometimes gives the impression it's looking out for its own best interest. So as a parent who's not speaking, is not dominant in English, may go into a meeting going, not only it's not the language, but then on top of that, I don't know who's helping to look out for me and my child's interest. So having somebody come with me that I feel comfortable and confident that, they're an ally, that it's not just me alone against the big school, but it's now we're united in unit, together. So if it's not important to the school to know and acknowledge and respect and incorporate the different languages that individual parents take, then it's also a similar thing than as an English-speaking parent. Well, it's not a priority. Yeah, okay, we'll translate the document. But that's that next, do we really care? And how do we demonstrate that we really care? Or are we just, let's just get this thing translated. Okay, now we're done. We did our job.
Right, right.
So
right, that there can be a sense, I mean, not that there is enough translation,
No,
let's
no,
get
no,
that
no,
straight. I
right,
mean, it's
right,
you know,
no,
it's an
that's not what
enormous challenge,
absolutely.
but it's very important that it not be perfunctory.
The school, I think that it has to be conveyed right from the core of the school level, that the school cares about you and what language you speak. And it's not just a checkoff box that gets put away and we never really look at it again. I mean, and what I mean by that is last summer, I had a family that I was connected with. She had my phone number, and she called me in the summertime to say, I just got a message from the school. I don't understand. Can you call the school and find out what happened? And the school was calling to say, you're picking up your child too late, or the person you're having, but so they don't have that information about who speaks what languages, and to not flag, so that if I know that, if the school knows that I speak Spanish, but they don't make any effort to accommodate for the fact that I speak Spanish, then what's the point of me checking I speak Spanish at home? So if they're not going to either find a way to find a translator at that moment, because I need to start to talk to the parent, and it's like, your examples in the past of a parent gets a call from the school and in English, and they don't know what's going on.
And in fact, they even assume that what has happened, or the way in which it is conveyed to them, makes it sound like things are much worse than they were. So basically, that what the parent understood was your child has disappeared.
Right.
Schools should be ready, so when parents and other community members want to help, they know exactly this is what we need from you, this is where you have to go. Because even someone from outside of the community who told me the story where she volunteered to translate at a school event, and she got there and she was like, I'm here to translate, and they didn't know who needed translation. They were like, wait around and see if a parent comes. But if the school had set up like times and knew this parent needs translation at this time, there are tons of people out in the community that are not even parents who are ready to do this sort of thing. But after this experience, she never came back. Because she was like, this doesn't make sense. I was there for an hour. Nobody came. I went home. So if the school takes on the leadership to plan this out and gather the information and have like schedules, they can take better advantage of resources that already exist in the community.
Our infrastructure connects the multilingual parents on the right with the school on the left in two-way communication. At the center of this infrastructure are the bilingual volunteer parent connectors. They check in with their families face to face at drop-off or pickup, out in the community, or by phone. Every 2 to 4 weeks, connectors tell these families about school resources, invite these families to join the connectors at school events, ask how school is going for their children, whether they'd like to set up a meeting with their children's teachers, whether they'd like to request a district interpreters, and whether they have other questions or concerns. Connectors share any common feedback with the school administration. The multilingual hotline is for families who don't have a connector or who simply want an update on current school information. Families can call, select their preferred language, hear summarized school announcements, and also leave messages with questions for the connectors. Connectors check the hotline and either reply to individual families or leave public messages answering common questions or refer families' needs to school staff. The blue bubble on the left-hand side shows that the Healey PTA has hosted a coffee hour, complete with district interpreters, for multilingual families to talk informally with the principal. We're hopeful that the new K-8 welcome centers will offer parent computers, and that the new volunteer coordinators and parent liaisons at each school can help triage school information, recruit connector volunteers early and often, pair them with families, and collaborate with connectors throughout the year to adapt to new challenges.
Let me give you one example. When I was walking in the hallway, uh, I met a parent, and there was some of the event going on the school, and they didn't know that. So I said, "Why didn't you come on that particular event?" So they saw up in the pie night, and in that day, I had just look out my son's progress report, and I know that the progress report was in the bag. So in the conversation, uh, the both parent, mom and dad, were talking, and they feel comfortable. They were talking about uh, mm, their son's activity, their personal work, my work. We're sharing all those things. In the meantime, I just learned, how is he doing? Have you ever look out the progress report? I said, oh yeah, it is already, or is in the bag. They were kind of surprised with that, and I just called their son over there. He was over in the same place in the event, so I just called him. Hey, you have a progress report in the bag, right? Yeah. Did you show your mom, dad? And he said, no. And he just said, no, that's, oh, they didn't look, or something like that. So after that, I just tell them, you have to look it, because the PTAs are for that thing. You have to have a conversation with the teacher, how your son is doing. So at least you have to look. So, and they said, okay. Mm, I assume that they look at after they go home, or the other day, and they come to they were over there in the PTA night too. So now they are looking at the progress report. They are tracking it, and even they were over there. They made, I think they made all 3 or 4 teachers in that same PTA night uh, who were teaching their son. So now they are connected to the teachers. So, but in both of the event I was there, I helped them to translate. Actually, their son translated there too, because he was saying. I doubt if there are not a parent in volunteers working with the ALL parent. I doubt that participation will be very low.
Well, there's this family. She came like in the beginning, maybe 2 years ago, and then her daughter was in first grade in the PTA, and she said she didn't really understand anything. She doesn't know what it mean, and I started talking to her and about the
It's going.
PTA and the report card, and she received this call from the school and her daughter was in trouble there, doesn't really doing good. So I started telling her that she needs to go to school, talk to the teacher, and see if she can do something to help her daughter too. So then one day she asked me to go with her because she doesn't feel comfortable with professional interpreter. It's, she feels like they know that doesn't really tell what she means, or they can make funny faces of her trouble with her daughter. She doesn't really know the reason, but she just looked at it. She said that she didn't feel comfortable, so we went with her a couple of times and talked to the teacher and translate for her. The teacher gave some advice, and her daughter started getting better. Like 2 first report cards when they come home was really, and as I would say, under the goal that you need to have in the school, she was, the teacher said
Below standard.
below the standard. She
Great.
said if she doesn't get better, she'll need to repeat
Class again.
the class, the same class again and again. Then, so she started talking to the teacher, and the girl started getting better, better, better. And like the last time I went to her meeting, and then if the year now her daughter's really good. She get better each time. Now she doesn't need to repeat the same year because she's really better. And it was kind of surprise for her mom, the teacher too, like a surprise because the girl started putting effort to do her homework and to stay in class, and she enjoy going to school now and read and talk to the teacher.
I think that one issue we ran into was clarifying the matter of what the connector's role is exactly, and understanding when there are boundaries that need to be respected. Connectors are parents.
And I feel like if you're calling to invite them to something specific, then it's better received. Like this call, like I'm here to help you, that sounds, it's weird.
Right.
But if, for example, the connectors, that could be their first task, inviting people to the International Day, or asking them if they want to volunteer in the
It's
classroom, if they want to cook. Like
Yes.
there's something specific that you are calling families about, and maybe it will be better received. And we haven't tried that, but that could be
It's
a way.
surprise to me when I asked to the parents, you ready for the International Day? What? I never done it before. No, I don't receive information. What? Are you serious? Oh my. No, I need to move everybody to make flyers, something like that. He said people no receive information talking about the International Day. When is my surprise in the party?
At the party?
The parents feel more comfortable when it's talking about the country, the respect my country, and more when it's, bullying, the children's bullying a lot of kids, but because you a different country, you can stay here or you return to So I think the parents see is respect the ideas, the culture, and everything to the we're talking about to the old country. So I still feel more comfortable talking about that. But an example, when the teacher about something bad to my son in the school, something happened, I think it's a little more different. It's more person a person when I can explain something like that in the PTA when I tell the principal, Purnima, my son have this problem in the classroom. So you go and talk with
So I think, Lupe, I think one of the things that I'm hearing is that PTA night, because there are the teacher conferences on PTA night, you're there to deal with issues, there to deal with a very serious matter.
yeah.
You're not really focused on on the good side of the school. Whereas the nice thing about International Day was that it was there to celebrate people's
You
presence,
celebrate, yeah,
people's presence
yeah.
in the school.
It's so
Yeah, I would even say to your question on how